Hey, welcome to Left 4 Dead Garage. Video 3 of the 49 Chevy pickup on the S10 frame. Got the bed done. Well, close enough. There's still a few bolts need to tighten up and add in, but for the most part, everything is done. The cab's mounted on the back. Still got to go to the junkyard and snatch some body washers for the front, but it's all done and happy. Now we're on to the front. This kit also came with 2 sets of instructions for adjustable clip and adjustable bumper. They kind of sort of go against one another, but if you get this kit, do not cut the frame in the clip instructions. Use the adjustable bumper instructions. Chris called the guy a while ago just to make sure. So there's no real measurements to go by. Actually, there's no measurements to go by, and his frame does not have a hole configuration like this. So, but I guess they all have this 3/8 hole on the bottom of the rail. As you can see, that's the sway bar, and I'll put a color picture of this stuff up right now. But so what you do is you kind of sort of eyeball it from here, and what we did was you got to pull the steering box, and this is sleeved in here so you don't collapse the frame when you tighten the box. So just in front of that, and then just in front of this 3/8 hole that's down here on the bottom, right somewhere here. So real vague. Hopefully that's not that important or critical, but if it is, we'll fix it. But I guess I'll probably plasma this. It'd probably be just as easy. I would like to use my portaband, but I don't trust it to make a straight cut for nothing. It would make a nice one swipe pass though if I could just come right down through there in one lick. I guess I'll break out the plasma cutter and let's get these frame horns knocked off and mock the bumper mounts up, and then I believe we'll move the Impala and carry the clip down and set the clip on, and then start eyeballing where the inner fenders have to be cut for the control arms, and I believe the front apron doodad has to be cut where the frame rails are. So let me drag the plasma out and let's get these things cut.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Product, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
All right, I'm gonna cut these frame rails here. Grab me a clamp just to hold that piece there. Can't really understand how you cut that straight with nothing being a straight place to work off of. actually just saws all that. Well, hell. I got the frame rails cut and cleaned up, so that's what we're looking at. I know it looks funny, the steering box hanging out there like that, but that's according to the directions. That's how it's supposed to go. All right, we're on cutting these inner fender wells. You also have to cut the radiator support, I believe. I'm gonna have to look again. Also a little bit vague. We're going off pictures, but the inner fenders and the pictures aren't exactly like these, so what I've done was measured the width of the control arm into this upper shaft to into this upper shaft, 15 inches. And then I decided to come off the back of the radiator support to this is kind of what they had in the picture, and they cut roughly that section off. So just as a guess, kind of keep it safe, 22 inches back, and then it shows they are cut up into this rib here, but I think just to play it safe, we're going to cut along this roll in the fender, and I got this one trimmed out. I'm going to also kind of 45 that corner down there because this side was into looking like a good trip to the ER. So I'm going to get this side cut out, and we're going to go back into the instructions and double check that radiator support, because it said something about flipping it upside down to cut something, and I can't remember if that was radiator support or this air pan thing inside the grill, but we'll figure it out and get back to you. Alrighty, back on this front clip. Got most everything trimmed out of the way. I think we got enough trimmed out of the way. The fenders are attached to the cab, got the hood on there, and the hood is a key piece and lining all this up. A little more confusing stuff with these directions on as far as the core support. I'll add pictures in here with this just to kind of show you. I mean, I'm not bashing this guy's stuff, but I mean, there's no videos and it's kind of confusing, so I'm just putting, you know, my real world take on this, I guess you could say. But let me show you where we're at and what I got going on here. All right, this guy is supposed to sit, this little ear, you can see right there above my thumb, is what kind of squares you on the frame, I suppose. And then it says in the directions that this slot lines up with this existing bumper hole. And then it's all adjustable. So, and on the other side of this fender well, that is the radiator core support, the actual core. So it's, you know, it's pretty beefy. So that'll bolt through the fender and attach to the frame. And then I'll have to assemble this thing before I weld it, I guess, because you can't get a bolt in there. Maybe it sits up high off the frame so you have room for the bolt to slide. But in his picture, it shows these slots here all welded to the chassis. Well, I can't weld with it sitting out here in the air, because you have to level this, and then it talks about drilling holes through here. But I mean, you can't really bolt that down if it's hanging out here in the air, and I dang sure ain't gonna bolt it down and let it go all crooked. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna cut this one off. That way this will sit flush or close to flush to the frame. This thing's got a mile of adjustment in it, so that shouldn't matter. That's what I'm gonna try, because just welding this little L just seems kind of, I don't know. It doesn't say weld that, but in the picture it shows that it's all been welded. It's all welded in these slots. So I think that's what I'm going to attempt. Just going to cut that off, and we'll put it up there and see how it goes. And if it looks all right, then I'll weld that corner and continue mounting. And if it doesn't work out, then I know I can just cut that off and get this mount back off. All right, so I cut this ear down back here and then off right here. You can see it's flush now. Need to take a hammer and try to, I'm just going to try to level it with this bead roll seam in this front part of the radiator support, or whatever you want to call it, inner fender. And then I'm just going to lightly weld it in this, where this bracket was. That way if I have to bend it up more level, because the truck's only on jack stands in the front, so I mean, you put a level on that and it ain't gonna be right. But if I weld it back here, we can adjust it up and down, and move to the other side. And once it's right, once we know it's right, then I'll go back and weld it all. I still have to weld bed mounts too, so, but for me, this is the only thing I can get that looks like it might work right. I don't know. I mean, I may be doing it totally wrong. Somebody might chime in. But I mean, it'd be after the fact, but if I know the right way, it'd be handy maybe for the next one. So all right, well, got this thing pretty well wrapped up last night. I have to look and see where I left off, but I'm just going to do the front clip as a video, and then we'll do running boards and bumpers in the very last video of the body mounting, and then there'll be videos of doing the air ride. I don't know if how much I'll be involved in the motor swap or anything like that, or the install. Not really a swap, there's nothing to take out. But let me show you, find a light. Let me show you what this looks like assembled, and I'll explain what not to do, because I found out exactly what not to do. You don't assume. That's what you don't do. You don't assume. All right, so as you can see, this is what mounts your radiator support, which is what runs on the other side of this, back to the chassis. I cut those ears off and put this flush for the most part. It has a gap up here, but that gap I think is critical for the adjustment of this bolt, if you have to bring the front clip, you know, in and out. And then you also have vertical adjustment here. So I got these welded on, but what you would think that this piece would go, you know, almost as far forward as you could, because you got this big rolled area here, and that's just for inner fender strength. No, I didn't really pay attention to it, and I should have. Try your best to line up with these two bolts here before you drill these holes, because I had this snug down where I thought it would go, and I drilled the holes and they were vastly off center. Like, there was no way I could get a bolt in it. It would be almost, well, if this is the center, the bolt holes are probably here and here. So I screwed that up massively, but luckily you can't see my screw up, but I know it's there, and you can see across there what it looks like on the inside. And then I'll show you how it all ties together under there. So the bolt's in, from the inside. The bolts must go from the inside out, and then this just all ties in, and I gotta put 2 more bolts in right here. But honestly, I may just square this up and just weld it. I don't know. It probably really doesn't matter. But it also, as you can see, bolts in right there. So we've got everybody all situated and bolted in. But yeah, looking from below, have your drilled holes line up with those bolts right there. And that fender brace, that's what it does. Braces the fender. And probably could have cut this a little more. I may still have got to bolt the steering box back on, so I may have to trim it for that power steering return. You can see the little barb fitting sticking up right there, so that may have to be trimmed a bit when I go to mount that back on. But that's what we got. Hopefully, if RussD Parts, I believe that's what this is called. Russ, thanks. Let me check. Yeah, hopefully if RussD, the man that makes this stuff, sees this, hopefully he doesn't take it as like super criticizing. I'm just, you know, I have not found a video one on YouTube about this. What you would think, there would be somebody posting a video on it, but I've not seen anything. So I'm just kind of, I don't know, trying to be realistic and open about this, and even sharing when I do, you know, F up. So that's it's pretty much for the front clip. The hood lines up. Still got a few odds and ends to do back here, and then gotta get Chris to bring me the bumpers. Probably do jump on bumpers and running boards this weekend. But thanks for watching Left 4 Dead Garage, video 3 of the 49 Chevy chassis swap. Creeping up on 2,000 subscribers. Thank you to everybody that watches, that shares this stuff, that subscribes. Really like to get there before long, but hey, it is what it is. We'll get there when we get there, right? All right, thanks for watching Left 4 Dead Garage. We'll see you on the next one.